So quick couple of thoughts before we start our Yizkor service today on this Yom Tov, on this day of Shmini Atzeret. My least favorite game in the whole world is Jenga. Now, for those of you who don't know what Jenga is, it's a game made up of small rectangular wooden tiles that are stacked on top of each other to create a tower. On each player's turn, they have to remove a tile from somewhere in the tower's base and then put the removed tile on the very top without allowing the tower to fall. It's pretty simple, right? On a completely and embarrassingly related note, I have a small but consistent tremor in both of my hands. I've had it ever since I was a kid. And for the vast majority of my daily life, it is so small and inconsequential that I often forget it's even there. But when I play Jenga, it's bad news, for sure, and absurdly anxiety-provoking. I feel like I'm the only one who can knock that tower down before it's even out of the box. That's how bad it is. So the moral of the story here is, if for some reason we are together playing Jenga, you 1000% do not want me on your team. And now if you'll allow me to be a little more serious for a moment. This last week, these last days of our Hebrew calendar that we call Zman Simchatenu, the time of our rejoicing, are nothing if not a very physical and tangible reminder that our lives are not so different than approaching a Jenga tower with a tremor in our hands. Our rabbis teach us in the Talmud in Masechet Sukkah that part of the mitzvah of the construction of our Sukkot is that we build them intentionally to be what is called arai, or impermanent. But the impermanence here isn't just about time. It's not just a mandate to put our sukkahs up and take them down in a timely and appropriate manner. The arai, the impermanent, is also central to the physical composition of the sukkah as our temporary home and dwelling place. Our sukkah, according to halakha, is supposed to be a little precarious. In fact, we know our sukkah is perfect when we are sitting in it and a big gust of wind comes up and we have a visceral response to hold our breath, to get nervous. Nervous that the whole thing might lift up and take off, or might collapse on top of us. Because while the schach, the greenery and foliage that we use as the roof of our sukkah, is supposed to symbolize the ananei kavod, the clouds of God's divine presence in this world, the walls, the foundation, the structure, they represent life. And life, as we know, but as we so often need to be reminded, is so very fragile, so unknown, uncertain, so impermanent. Life is arai. I'm reminded of the old Jewish joke made famous by Woody Allen and Annie Hall that there are two women sitting at a Catskills resort and they're having dinner in the restaurant, and one turns to the other and says, "Wow, the food here is really terrible." And the other woman responds saying, "I know, in such small portions." Life can feel that way sometimes, like it's unfair, like it's unkind, even cruel, like it's dangerous and unpredictable, and that it's all over way too quickly. But the fragility of Sukkot is not meant to fill us with existential dread. It's not supposed to cripple us with fear or intimidation. Hahefech, quite the opposite. When we sit in our Sukkot, when we shudder because a cold spell rolls through, when our eyes itch because a bunch of bamboo and dried evergreen dust drifts into our face, and when we hold our breath and cross our fingers when that big gust of wind comes up, we do so as part of Zman Simchatenu, the season of our joy. In our Sukkot, we don't say Tachanun or Vidui. We don't read Eicha or tear our collars or take off our leather shoes. We say brachas. We say Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh, thanking God for renewing us, for sustaining us, for allowing us to reach this moment of goodness and hope despite the temporality and uncertainty that surrounds us. And we pray Yaleh v'Yavo that we might warrant another year, another month, another moment to be here and to give thanks, all while so very aware that our tower could fall at any moment. The wisdom of our tradition is that it never denies that painful and difficult truth. We don't shy away from that wrestling in Judaism. Rather, we embrace ritual, custom, tradition, and study to take the fact of our fragility and to infuse it with depth, meaning, profundity, and action. I know that this word is charged for a lot of folks, but we infuse our existence with tikkun, with repair, with fixing, with improving, with beautifying. Judaism might agree that the portions are small, but as Jews, we believe that it's up to us to determine just how good the food is. At Yizkor, a Jenga tower is set up. We approach it with our hands trembling, reluctant to even try to build upon what was and what is. But we have to. We owe it to them, to those who came before us. We owe it to those who will come after us. And we owe it to the one who put us here to help him with that sacred task in the first place. Our lives bend and shake in the wind. They are open to the cold, to the rain, to the darkness, but they are also meant to let in the light of the stars, to open up and fit as many people as we possibly can inside. And to please God, keep building layer on top of layer, widening our walls to fix, to mend, to grow, to fit even more. The tower is built. The gaps and openings are intimidating, but it's our turn. And even though our hands shake, it's going to be all right, because we don't do this for us. We do this for them. Mashiv haruach umrida gashim. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, but we look up and we let in the stars.